Hello.
Hello. What are you laughing at? This is serious, cadet. We have a new teacher here today. Her name is Sad Rachel. Different to Miss Rachel from before and Mrs. Rachel, my wife, or Mrs. Yum Yum, the co-host of Yum Yum Podcast. This is Sad Rachel, because Rachel, I can already see the tears forming in your eyes because we're getting closer to the end of this magical experience.
Oh, yeah, that's why I'm sad.
They've greenlit more magic, though.
Yes. Yay. We're here to talk about Star Trek, Starfleet Academy. Ryan is my husband. Bartek is our mutual friend.
If you're lucky, we may let you get married to one of us and then abdicate responsibility.
Wow.
Well, you didn't ask Bartek to be your...
My, Kazini, Calzone, whatever they were calling it.
Cozine?
Cozine.
It's the name of the episode.
Yeah, the zines. Did you know zines? They helped get launched off because of Star Trek, because a lot of fans were artists and they made little comic strips, little fanzines, because of the original series of Star Trek. So we can thank Star Trek for giving us zines.
I did know that. Bartek, did you, though?
No, I didn't. Like all magazines?
No,
No.
like fanzines, like little things that
okay.
fans
Little
create.
zines.
Yeah.
Which is just, the first example of many in this episode, I'm sure, that illustrate that Ryan and I know Star Trek. We know the history. We are way more familiar with this IP than Bartek is.
Yeah, and clearly more familiar with the history of magazines, because I don't think they started
it
in
links.
the 60s, right?
Yeah, but zines started.
Zines, yes.
Magazines existed before that.
Yes, but zines, fanzines are a different thing. Fan fiction is also something that you can trace back to Star Trek because many people were writing about Spock and Kirk / fiction especially. So something
doing
to
the
take
kissing?
in. Yes, doing the kissing. And I think it's been proven that one of the first examples of empregging, which is male pregnancy in that erotic fan fiction way, was Star Trek.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
cool.
there you go, 60s Star Trek.
Who was the prego?
I think it was Kirk.
Okay.
Got pregnant from Spock. So there you go, something to think about. But we're here today to talk about Star Trek Starfleet Academy's 7th and 8th episode. We're nearing the end of this first season. Lots has happened. We've gone from slice of life to big plot things to kind of slice of life episodes, but also plot things. See, it's evolving, it's changing right before our eyes. And if you people out there have not seen these 2 episodes, recommend that you do because we are going to be getting into them. So if you don't want to be spoiled on what could happen, then just give it a watch for yourself. Come back and hear our thoughts on these episodes. Rachel, do you have...
on is a different show that we do.
Oh,
honey.
yes. You know what I'm saying, though. If you want to come back and hear our takes on these episodes, does that work better? Our takes, our review.
Yeah, if they want our thoughts on, then they have to go to Patreon for that.
Oh, thank you, Rachel. Yes, we have a Patreon. We have a bunch of content on there. Rachel's referencing our series, Our Thoughts On, when we talk about random things. We just talked about Pride and Prejudice. The TV series, the miniseries, and the film. Will we talk about Bride and Prejudice, the Indian take on the story? You have to go over to Patreon and find out.
From the director of Bend It Like Beckham.
From the director of Bend It Like Beckham, something that Bartek and I covered on our podcast, Spit and Polish
that
Presents.
was like the 4th or 5th episode, right?
What an emotional episode that was too. We so many laughs were had, so many things were taught and learned. And we're yum yum because of an iconic moment from Star Trek Discovery. Do I even need to explain it? We all know this yum yum moment. Bartek's watched it many times over. He's sat down and he's just isolated that scene. He's studied it. He stroked his beard and said, "I get it."
I've definitely seen a still of it, and I've heard the audio. I can't remember if I've seen the video. Maybe if like Red Letter Media played it or
Yes,
something.
yes, I have. But
Yeah.
perhaps that will be Bartek's final journey through Star Trek. We do Starfleet Academy, then we go back and do the original series. We do every single episode. But when we get up to that scene in Discovery, we stop the podcast there.
It's the ultimate in media res. Start on the recent show, then start from the beginning, just to get all the context afterwards.
Rachel, can you provide us some context of what episode we're going to be kicking off with?
Cosine, which really makes me just think of trigonometry.
I'm never thinking of trigonometry, so nothing can remind me of it.
Because cosine is a thing in trigonometry, is it not?
Sine, cosine, tangent, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So Bartek remembers.
I'm sorry. Trigonometry is just so important to my everyday life
Hey,
that I no longer think about it. I'm just doing it all of the time. I'm doing it right now, and you can't see, but you should know I'm doing it right now.
I associate trigonometry with the first episode of Mr. Bean.
There you are. That's where I get my trigonometry lessons from, that and Yum Yum Podcast.
Here is my summary for cosine. Wedding bells and alarm bells are ringing across the galaxy for our cadets. But Genesis learns that people pointing at your flaws is actually a gift.
It's okay that I don't know when magazines started and can be convinced accidentally that it was in the 60s.
It just shows that you're special. That you're an important figure. So, yum yum moments, things that are important, things that make us raise an eyebrow and go, that was a little strange. That was bizarre. I didn't know what to make of that. Rachel, you've already given the vibe that maybe this episode was not your biggest cup of tea, but surely there was a yum yum moment there for you.
I think I've repressed most of this episode. I really don't. Like, I remember things that you paused and I paused on and were just like, what the fuck? But now I can't remember, like, any of them. Like, I look through my notes and there's just a bunch of points where I'm like, this is painful. That was my main note for both of these episodes. It's not helpful. My past self screwed me over.
So we have to stop our recording so Rachel can watch the 2 episodes again and find her yum yum moments in them.
It's a slug. It's not warp capable.
But it is, Rachel. It's a warp slug.
That's why it's a joke, Ryan.
She didn't.
Can't you tell how funny I find it?
She didn't read the whole label.
She didn't read the whole label.
She didn't read the important part.
He had his hand in there so long. How did he not feel a slug moving around? That was the one he had his hand
It was
in.
warping around.
It was
dummy.
warping. It would have
But,
torn through him.
Yeah, but like if it can warp in the water, then why is it still there?
Well, it's in a jar.
Yeah, it was only warping a few inches.
Well, across the
Yeah,
room.
But then it can warp.
Well, at first, though,
if it
when he
could-
wasn't feeling it.
There's nothing in the container that stops the slug from being able to warp.
Wrong, there's a lid.
Wait a moment. Are we getting stuck on the... Wait. If we're going to get stuck on the logistics...
The lid logistics.
Oh, like,
Rachel.
I tried to resist it. It's still,
Rachel, come on. Star Trek in the modern day, not thinking through the logistics of the things that they even set up themselves, I find that unbelievable personally. My yum yum moment, very simple. We had to stop because I looked at my watch and I was and Rachel guessed. I said, how long do you think it took for the opening credits to cut in? Bartek, this 7th episode's opening credits took a while. How long do you think?
So, yeah.
The episode's 55 minutes, just so you can have a frame of reference.
I do remember one of these episodes taking a little while to get to the credits. I couldn't remember if it was... I'm guessing it was that first one. Was it like 15 minutes or something?
12 minutes.
12 minutes, okay.
That's my yum yum. That was absurd. And for what? It's not like they had a cold open. They just basically had the first half of the show, and then they just put...
It was the first act.
They may as well just have said, this is an anime episode. We're going to put our eye catcher in the center, but the eye catchers are really slow, boring intro credits.
It's like a Gintama gag. There are some Gintama episodes where they don't do the OP until like halfway through and the characters like comment on it. It's like, oh, we'll just do it now then.
Bartek, what was your yum yum moment?
So actually for both of these episodes, I've decided to give the actors a bit of a break.
Oh, they need it.
Yeah.
They need a little break. Hell, even Jaden's actor in the second episode, he needed to tap out for a little while. He needed to have a little lay down because he's been just so busy standing on the sidelines.
Yeah, technically the actors are related to it because, it's the thing we're watching. But it was just little moments that like, hey, this crew member, could you have like done this a bit differently? So it is centered around an acting moment. It's when Caleb and Aki are having their conversation while she's like packing her bag, and she's giving Jaden like, a strict lecture about like, you have to go to this Senegal family.
Jaden or Caleb?
Sorry, Caleb. Sorry,
Yes,
we were just talking about our good friend Jaden.
Our good friend Cake, yes.
Well, they're both good friends.
Cake?
Caleb. No, never forget his name is Jaden Cragg. But go on,
Oh,
Caleb.
Yes, she was talking to Caleb and telling him like, oh, you have to go to this, Senegal family and, for this break. And he was pushing back. He didn't want to go. He wanted to stay. And eventually he got her to relent. So, and her reaction to, her relenting at first was her to just scream, "Arr!"
Yes, I thought that it would be a yum yum.
Yeah, and not for the acting though, but just for the pacing of the conversation. Because it was like he said something, there was a little beat, she went, "Arr!" There was another beat, and then the conversation continued. It's like there needed to be a bit more of a pace there to make it natural.
Let's put a pin in that because I have a moment like that in the second episode. That wasn't my yum yum, but I have a moment pretty
I don't
close.
think any of this was natural.
What?
There'll be no one there. You'll be alone for 4 days.
Perfect!
Ah!
I hated pretty much every single thing about these 2 episodes. I hated watching it. I hated listening to it. I just, like, it is the most venomous towards the show that I have felt. It is more venomous than I felt in the entirety of the last season of Discovery.
Well, that made you bored, Discovery.
Mhm.
That was the difference.
That's-
This one aggravated you.
Yes.
Is it because it's a breaking point, or is it like the episode itself?
Both, because we're at this point in the season where I am meant to care about these characters. I'm meant to care about their stories, meant to be invested. And the show has done so little work to actually achieve that goal. And the false sincerity in which they explore the characters in these 2 episodes, I find abhorrent. But both of these episodes have the illusion that they are payoffs to things. And they aren't a reflection of the work that the show has actually done, in my opinion, at least. Because we have this big cast of characters and we have seen them go through this traumatic event. Like the episode before this, it was a really tough thing for them to go through. And then it switches to where they're on holidays.
It's been a month as well, so all of that grieving, like the memorial service, you won't see it on screen. Fuck you. You'll just hear that they went through things.
Yeah, but then we don't get to see them in that immediate moment. We skip ahead, and I think the show suffers for that because we have multiple time jumps in these 2 episodes.
In the second one, we find out it's been over 200 days since they've been at the academy, which is bonkers to me, because if you had to ask me how long it's been, I would have said maybe 70, maybe 100, if you're really pressing me on it. But 2, like nearly a year. They've been at it for nearly a year, which is crazy. This 7th episode for me, I found to be boring. Like, that's its biggest crime. I was not as angry or venomous as Rachel. For me, though, I do share a lot of the same problems of, I see what you're trying to do here, but you haven't really given us the journey to this final destination point. So when they're making reveals of character stuff, or they're saying this, I look back and I ask simple questions of, how was this demonstrated previously in the show? And if so, was it continuously demonstrated, or was it one-off? A big example of that is we reveal Genesis's dark backstory of some way, and I say to Rachel, when has it been shown in any other episode that she's so introverted, that she's incapable of being in this position, and you know, her confidence that she's using is just a mask for that? Has it actually been shown? And Rachel just said, oh, Darren made her upset one time on the laser tag field.
Yeah.
And then it's like, yes, I guess that's technically an example, but it doesn't feel like
There
one.
was some episode that we did, I can't remember if it was the last one or the one two before, where I asked like a question like, oh, did we learn much about her and her relationship with her dad? And
No.
it was just like a general thing of like, oh, there's some sort of like, it wasn't really like daddy issues, but like her father's like important to her.
He's an admiral, that, you know, and he's high ranking, so he's busy.
Yeah, and she has a front of like confidence. Like that's basically all we really had.
And we just get that reinstated and reaffirmed and redone again in this episode. I did have a good chuckle because, Bartek, you said what you wanted
I had a chuckle
was
too.
a slice of life character thing, thinking that we can't go back to that, but yet here we are. But then you also said, I want an episode that actually focuses on Darum or Genesis, because I feel like we got cheated last time, and this is where the monkey paw situation happens for you, because you got it again, but not in the way that either of us, I think, really wants.
No, it wasn't done well. Again, they are sharing episodes, and I don't understand why.
But they're not together in this episode.
No,
They're
well,
having it be separate duties of being the co-leads.
We have had some criticisms in the past episodes of just like too many plots going on. This episode at least kind of drew a clear line between there's an A plot and a B plot. These are the two things we're jumping between.
Mm-hmm.
So in that sense, the structure was a little bit more comfortable. I liked this episode more than the last one. And I think that actually carried a lot of it for me. It's definitely shaky in some ways. Like obviously you already mentioned, like, you know, this is following up like the big tragedy thing, and everyone's generally kind of cool.
Don't worry, the next episode, that's where they'll be dark and grieving.
Yeah.
Like it just happened yesterday.
There are big criticisms to be had in that next episode for this topic, so we will get there eventually. But for this episode, it's just holiday mode. Like there is a little bit with Caleb's part of the story where there is some fallout from that. Like we're generally following 4 characters in this episode and they're paired off, which that was another nice thing. Like not only do we have 2 clear stories, but also we are committing to pairs of characters for the majority of the episode, so we get to see more dynamics like that.
Different dynamics too. Ones that we maybe haven't played with since the very first episode of the show itself.
Oh, there were some in the middle. Like we did have some sort of like Caleb and Genesis, like, you know, back and forth stuff. Like,
but an actual plot.
Yeah, but this is like an actual plot. And obviously there's been some Darum and Jaden, like confusion on our part in some ways, like when we had the whole Romeo and Juliet.
Yes. By the way, I'm still standing that Darum is gay for Jaden, but that's a debate for later. Yes.
Yeah, Bartek, do you have any questions?
I didn't really, but then you were bringing up that's not how warp works, and it reminded me like, oh yeah, this is a series where like warp is a thing. So should I be asking how the warp slug relates to like warp 1 and all that?
No.
So warp is faster than light travel.
So it's not teleportation.
No.
Oh, okay.
That's transportation. That's teleportation. That's its own thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
In my head, it was the same thing.
Warp is going super fast.
Okay.
Yeah. But that they call it a warp slug when it acts like it teleports.
Okay, so when I said there was a lid and Rachel had a big reaction.
Yeah, it's like saying, oh, you can't fire a gun. There's a lid there. It's like, well, the bullet would go through the fucking lid, or at least it would hit the lid. But that's why Rachel's like, that's not how warp works.
Yeah.
I agree with you, though. There isn't much here, even in terms of fan service stuff. The most we get, and this is already a reference done in the previous episodes, but we haven't vocalized on the podcast, which is the name of the garden that's in the center of the academy that Caleb's sitting at for a majority of this episode, where the blossoms are, is named after a character from Enterprise.
If you are departing by shuttle, please report to the shuttle bay. Otherwise, report to the Sato Atrium Mezzanine for transport.
Darum gets kidnapped by these fucking dipshits who make like a Doctor Strange wormhole in the hallway, and they like drag him through there, and then Jayden sees it and he runs in too. And I said to Rachel, why don't they just transport him? Like, that's a technology that they all own. Like, you transport a person, that's how you kidnap them. And there's two answers for that. The obvious one being, Jayden needs to be in the plot too, and you can't just run into a transporter when it's you have to be like they have to lock on to you and transport you out. So that's why you have a wormhole that exists. And the other being, obviously, if you transport someone in the academy, it would set something off. So they just have a wormhole thing as like this nerdy way. Like, this is the ultimate example of when this show gets into the weeds of being like, you can't get us on this, nerds. You can't get upset at us. We figured out a way for this to make sense, only to have things that just blatantly don't make sense for not just Star Trek, but for this series in its own internal logic. And this is why I bring this up, because it's just such a... This is what I hate about sci-fi.
I'm really struggling to understand what you're talking about, to be honest.
My point is, at the beginning of this episode, Darum gets kidnapped.
Yes.
There's a wormhole in the hallway. But in this sci-fi universe, they would just use a transporter. They would have a ship or something else lock onto him, transport him. Just like he becomes ethereal light and then he disappears. You understand the concept of transporters. You've seen them in this show. They tap their badge and they just transport away.
They walk in front of Jet Reno after she says where they're going, and then they disappear.
Yeah, that's transport.
Okay.
They would just transport.
So has there never been like a portal thing before?
Not really, not like this. It's very Doctor Strange. And what they do is they have it for those two reasons. So Jayden can literally walk into it.
Oh, I see. So it can still be used before it goes away, kind
exactly.
of thing. Okay.
Because you can't do that with a transporter. And the other being, if you activate if you transport someone off the academy, it would set a sensor off. So someone else would know that he's been kidnapped. And that's why they do it. And this is unnecessary, but this is the nerd shit that this series does, where they're like, we're going to put in all this information that's very arbitrary, but we know that you fuckers are going to complain if we don't do it right. But then they'll get stuff that's just so clearly wrong in there. I go, why are you caring about the transporter thing, but you don't care about the doctor's backstory? Like, these are the things that make me put my hair out. I go,
it wasn't a big
weird things to prioritize.
It wasn't a big deal, but the only like kind of logical inconsistency that I thought of regarding this was he was kidnapped as part of like, the ritual. Like, traditionally we kidnap you to bring you to like the wedding preparation. And it was way ahead of schedule. Like, he wasn't even expecting that he was anywhere near like this random kidnapping. And then as soon as Jayden appears, like, on that moon or whatever it was, Darum immediately makes the excuse, no, he's my like best man guy. It's like, oh, you've got a best man prepared, even though this is like an unexpected early kidnapping thing.
Oh, that was just like, I need a reason why.
I know.
Here.
No, but Bartek's hitting the nail on the head. They would say that. They'd go, well, you wouldn't know how to have a best man because we surprised you with this.
Yeah.
It's never questioned.
It didn't matter to the episode because it's just like, oh, well, good, you're ready, I guess. But yeah, it was just a thing that I thought of like, that's funny that's like a bit of an inconsistency maybe.
I feel very like superficial saying this, but a large part of my disconnection with this particular plot is it's ugly to look at. They're standing in this obvious either green screen environment and or the volume wall effect. And so every time we're here with Darum and Jayden, in this space, it feels claustrophobic. It doesn't feel like outside. It looks hideous, and there's so many hilarious
also
shots
such a-
of them standing in front of this hideous effect behind them that looks like we're in
It's
2001.
a dumb justification to not have them in water.
Yeah, well, that was bizarre. Like, oh, why are we on like a barren-looking planet? And like, Jaden even like questions it.
Why is there an episode about why is there an episode about Darum's people and we still don't know if they're shapeshifters and or why they shapeshift into human form when they actually have a real form? It's also stranger to me even more
that
that
we
in
haven't
this
seen
episode,
any blue people since episode
yeah,
1.
yeah. And even stranger to me that Darum, in an episode where we reveal that he's a shy, introverted guy, that's his backstory, that it doesn't bring up the fact that he doesn't like to shapeshift in front of other people because he's a shy guy. Like, they don't even make that connection. The thing that I said in episode 1, and both of you kind of gave me the eyebrow about and went, I don't know about that. And I'm like, no, it's because he's embarrassed. Like, he's shy. And then this episode's like, he's shy. But they don't even point to that. So I have more questions about his people than I think an episode that says, Darum is taken back to his people should provide me. Like, I shouldn't have more questions in this way.
Yeah, it was more about his past relationship with this girl rather than his people.
It was so boring because you knew immediately that there was no way that this marriage was going to work out and that he was going to leave the academy. So it was just a question of how that was going to end up happening, and if it was going to happen before or after the actual ceremony.
And it was after.
Yeah, which was kind of like, oh, okay. But that was because they made it her decision, not his.
But it's because Jay Dan
Because
gave a beautiful speech.
Because Darren was too much of a coward to actually do it. She had to do it for him.
Would you say it's cowardice? I think the thing that was the most interesting on a character level is Darum is going back into his previous life where he was this subservient, kind, introverted person who that may not be actually who he is or who he is now. And she recognizes that he is playing a role for her and, most importantly, himself, because he believes it. And I thought that was fascinating. And my biggest complaint is, if anything, I think the whole episode should have been about this. Because here's a crazy thing. Did you know? I only found this out because of the credits, really. Did you know Darum's parents were in this episode?
Yeah.
No. I was thinking after... Oh, okay.
Wow!
I was thinking after the episode, like, oh, it would have been good if we saw his parents.
Yeah, they don't speak.
Which is weird considering what we heard about them.
Yeah.
Episode 3 was a big part of it.
We don't. She goes over and talks to two sets of older people. We don't know which ones are her parents and which ones are his.
I don't want to say it, but I think you could tell by looking at the actors who's are who's because of just,
Yeah.
visual iconography there. But here's the thing. They should be characters. What is their reaction to their son basically abdicating being the leader of their people? Do we have a reaction?
Dirty look.
Like, if we were to
That's
if we would eventually have an episode that Genesis's father is in, and he doesn't have any dialogue or any focus, but he's just in the
Or
background,
characterization.
that would be a problem.
And it's here for Darum as well. It's a problem because he has a wound in his heart because of their strict expectations of him.
He has a whole cadet log in episode 3 that starts that way.
So the fact that Rachel knew and you didn't says volumes to me about this episode, because it's a blank space that needed to be filled, considering that this is an episode about Darum and his past. The fact that his parents weren't characters, true characters in this story, is actually a betrayal of what this story is needing. But we also need to have warp slug jokes. We need to have Aki slamming a suitcase closed. We need to have Tig Notaro fixing her big toe. Like, these are the things I look at in an episode like this and I say, yeah, that's cute and all, but you're costing the story that is at the heart of this by wasting time on these things instead.
Because it's not interested in actually telling the damn story.
Congratulations
Thank you. For what?
for realizing that you are essentially an asshole.
I want to talk about the love interest a little bit, because we haven't heard about her or this, betrothment before. So we haven't heard about this character before, and it's kind of like, thrust upon it. Literally, we're in Jaden's shoes of like, what is going on? Where am I? It's like, oh, look, I'm getting married to this woman. She's my best friend. I love her. It's like thrown at you really quickly. And then you meet the character and they have like scenes together. And me watching this, it's like, okay, this has been thrust on me very suddenly. I'll try to give this episode a chance to like, sell me on this character being like, this important figure in Darren's past. And I actually think the episode did an okay job at it. Like showing us that, this is a character that loved him or loves him and has a history with him, and seeing like his more tender side associated to her. It actually worked for me. There is a big asterisk to all this, by the way. But yeah.
Oh no, I'm scared.
So in a way, I kind of saw his side of the plot being more about like him and her rather than him and Jaden, ironically. And yeah, he has a scene with her where she's like, look, if you have any sort of doubts about this, I know it's very weird, it's very sudden, let me know. And he tells her, very romantically, like, oh, this is exactly what I want. And we have the speech, we have the wedding, and then we have that final scene where, she confronts him about it. And I was with her on a lot of that. It was, honestly, we've criticized this show on like the romantic storytelling.
I was going to say she's probably been the most understanding female character in a romantic entanglement that we've seen in the entire show.
Like that scene, we were having her express all this stuff about how, she knows this guy, she loves him, she knows what he's like, and she saw like another side of him in that best man speech. And even though Darum is conflicted about the situation he's in, and, feels like he should fulfill his obligations rather than what he sincerely wants, she understands him kind of better than he does, and like she points out like, this is how you truly feel, this is what you want to do. And it's like kind of like a romantic, like, I'm gonna give this up so that you can be happy with what you truly want. And I was like, I really like this. This is where the asterisk comes in, though.
Oh no!
She suddenly reframes it as him being like a liar and being unfair to her.
You started our marriage with a lie.
And I deserve better than that. I'm like,
I had the same experience.
I was like, this was going like perfectly, and you.
Oh, Bartek, haven't you been watching this show?
I know,
women are gaslighting vixens that will make it your fault, and yet you're a coward, and that you're the fuck up.
But it's just,
I'm sure Tarima won't say similar lines of dialogue in the next episode while in a drunken state. I'm sure she won't do that.
It's just such a weird thing because, like, if you cut out that ending part, like, it was like kind of perfect for me.
Rachel, this is something that, has been an emerging thing in the series, but I think this stands out way more than any other modern Star Trek show. But are they sexist with their portrayals of the female characters in this series?
Yeah.
I know the show doesn't want me to actively find a lot of the female characters morally bankrupt, but it is doing that. Like, I'm looking at a lot of these characters and go, you're just being unfair, like totally unfair. And I'm going, is that just me being a guy? Am I just ridged up as a guy going, no, that's not fair?
Yeah, it's weird the way that they treat the relationship dynamics, because this kind of thing is coming through mostly when we're dealing with romantic relationships. And I feel like it's with all of the partnerships in the show, because I think that there are similar traits that come through even with Lara and Reno's relationship. Of one of them is more reasonable, one of them's more emotional, but the show treats it like the more emotional one is the more intelligent one. But I'm often not on their side.
The only relationship I find to be worthy of my attention is Kyle and Jayden, and this episode said, fuck you, that's not going to happen on the screen. So the one thing I knew about this episode, and I shared this with you both last week, was, not on the pod, but when we were just hanging out, of the actor of Jayden made a social media post saying how great it is to portray the first ever gay Klingon on screen.
Yeah.
And of course, all the chuds, all of the freaks out there,
I think you used those exact same words too.
The grifters out
Chuds
there
and grifters
were like, oh my god, he's gay? How fucking terrible. And it clearly shows they haven't been watching the show at all, because he's been clearly gay from the very first episode.
All the time.
And if you didn't pick up on that, like, don't worry. They keep making it clear with every single passing episode that Jayden is gay. And so when I walked into this...
It took me 5 episodes, by the way.
Which is weird, because, like, I don't know what more they needed to do, but they did so much to be like, he's clearly gay. And he's interested in Kyle, and Kyle's interested in him. And yeah, even then, like, I've been saying, like, I think him and Darum have a thing going on, and you were like, oh no, I think it's just a Romeo and Juliet, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I don't know, man. They look like they were going to kiss several times in these episodes.
I was talking about the episode 5 thing. The episode 4 thing.
But even then, in episode 5, when they're in the club, he's just like, hey, man, you know, and he's like touching. Either way, I was expecting some gay stuff in this episode, like specifically with Jayden and Kyle, and it's just like Kyle just gives him a kiss, and then that's it. And they walks off, and I'm like, oh.
But they were going to go on holiday.
All of this, yeah, exactly. All of this hype from the actors and from the conservative chuds mad. I was expecting there to be some actual material of worth to be like, oh, there's gay stuff. And I really just went, oh, it's...
Yeah. I wasn't.
Jayden's upset for most of the episode that it's not happening, to be fair.
Yeah, exactly. One thing they got correct was Klingons don't like the cold. So thank you, writers. You remember that Klingons don't like the cold, because he's complaining about that a lot in this episode, is that he hates the cold. Klingons don't do well with it. So there you go. There's the B-plot following our main character, Caleb.
Why are you laughing?
Because he's the main character, and he's the B-plot. Again, he's the B-plot. There was an amazing moment, though, that was actually kind of wild, where he is talking to Aki, and he's just like, wait a moment, you're telling me that you were talking to my arch nemesis who knows my mum, and you didn't bring up my mum with him? How could you? And she's like, I was a bit busy, there was other things of worth. And he goes, sure. And this was something that threw me for a loop, and please, clarify, let me know your opinions if you think this is true. She says, I've been looking for your mother. I have not got the sense at any point that Aki has actually been looking for his mum in any way, shape, or form. If you actually told me right now they've never mentioned that she was also trying to help him find his mum, it wouldn't be a shock to me. But that was a character thing she said. It's like, my thing too in this season has been looking for your mum. And it's like, neither of you have been looking for her this season. Since episode 2, no one's been looking. So it's been a very long time. So when Aki said, I've been looking for your mum, I actually was like, is she lying? Is that bullshit on her part, or is she being true?
I think it is. The show's just doing a really poor job of communicating it.
Between scenes, yeah.
Do you, like...
I didn't take that as like, oh, you fucking liar.
I'm not saying that, but like, it's that thing of like, I don't believe that, because the show hasn't demonstrated it in any way. And if anything, it's shown us that she benefits more from him serving as her surrogate child than her reuniting him with his actual mother. Like, that's what the show's demonstrated more than anything else.
I think they're just lazily telling, not showing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm shocked to hear that.
Like,
Bartek.
oh yeah, I believe that it's happening, that there's some searching stuff going on the side, but like not good enough, not, big enough to be the plot of an episode.
So we have had some issues with Caleb, Rachel and I especially. Bartek, you've been more warm to him.
He's my friend.
But this episode, Rachel, does challenge us. It gives us a lot of Caleb. We get to hear his interiority. We get to see what pains him. He's literally glistening in this episode. We get to see a lot of the goods.
Yeah, he tells someone to move aside so that he can glisten more.
So he can be more muscular on the screen. But what do you feel about Caleb in this episode? Because to give the writers credit, they are actually making him be active in the story this time around. Like, he's there doing stuff.
He's just kind of in two modes. He's either whiny little bitch or super hacker.
Oof, weighty words. I thought I left my pad in here, but nope, just a couple of cadets in the deepest of shit.
90% of their time is just shenanigans. Like, there's a little slug running around.
They're
Or,
just
you're
toxic
glistening.
or non-toxic.
Oh,
Science lab roulette.
Mhm.
Blah, blah, blah. And game off screen.
Oh no, the slime is going to fall on Jet Reno's head. We've got to freeze it and not get caught. Oh boy. And then the last,
I do believe that she's that unobservant.
Yes, and then the last 2 seconds of their story is the actual content that you would hope an episode would be. That's why I'm like,
Yeah, it kind of reframes it in retrospect, them goofing around was them avoiding their problems, because after they do the games, that's when they start having talks about hey, could you hack me into this place? And there's a bit of isn't that really detrimental to our futures?
that's the thing. She was using him.
Where have we heard that before?
She was using a woman using him. That's not right, but I don't think
no.
this
Caleb was using Terima in episode 2.
Yeah, and now Genesis is using him to hack into a thing. Awfully familiar stuff with Caleb. Caleb's done it to people, and now they're doing it to him. But don't worry. Genesis is an amazing character. She's really well defined. She has a dad who's an admiral, and she's been fast-tracked for the command program.
But not quite.
But not quite, and she's very nervous about that. So she wants to hack in so she can change stuff, and that's supposed to be the thrust of the episode. But we don't know that, as you said, because we're dicking about for most of it. Then it's reframed as oh
no, I was waiting for it because of her reaction to we're going to speak to your references. I was just like, what did she fucking do? She lied about something, and I thought it was going to be that she lied about being the admiral's daughter. And that she's somebody else entirely.
Oh, something that we've heard has been a lie all along.
Yeah, something that actually feels meaningful rather than her references just think she's an introvert. It's
that she's insecure. It's well, you're a teenager.
Yeah.
All teenagers are insecure about something.
To cut straight to the bone of the matter, was the reveal of what Genesis's deal was at all interesting to you?
I finished the episode and I needed to go back because I thought I missed something.
Why? Why did you have that sensation?
I guess that's jumping to the meat of your first question of I didn't think it was that big a deal, and I didn't know that Genesis would think that was a really huge deal.
Yeah, enough to go in and change her references?
Because it's literally as simple as she doesn't feel like she belongs. She's not confident. That's the extent of the thing that she doesn't like.
And have you felt that as a core character trait of hers in the show? When you think back now, you go, oh yeah, I see that.
I guess looking back, I would have to look at her confidence as a front, but I did think it was kind of genuine, especially in, her first interactions with Sam. This interacting with this new person who is trying to find her way around, and she's like, oh yeah, I can help you with that, no problem. And they have a quick relationship, and it's oh, this is a sociable, confident person. She in episode 3 was all about how even though she didn't win the right to become captain of the team, she still had the skills, and
she proved herself.
Yeah, and this episode has reinforced both from Caleb and from Aki that she gets good grades. She's genuinely talented.
Yeah.
Whether or
she
not
keeps a cool level head.
Yeah, whether or not you are confident or not, you're doing fine.
So that is this episode. Let's move on to our next one. Rachel, episode 8 is The Life of the Stars. What is your summary?
This one, it got a bit meta. It just felt right. The cadets need trauma counseling, so the character that is traumatic for Rachel and Ryan returns. Tilly. The Doctor and Ake escort Sam to her home planet in an effort to save her life, but what is the price to be paid? Sure, the characters learn the power of theatre, but SFA reminds Rachel how painful watching modern Star Trek really can be.
Lot to take in there, and a lot of yum moments. This episode, oh boy, because they're tapping into theatre. There's a lot of theatre kid energy in this one, and I had to say, hold on there a second. I'm going to grab that pin out from earlier that I mentioned of random, like, I don't even know, pacing, the way lines are delivered. The Doctor, I'm pretty sure it's the Doctor, is grilling, what's her name? Tamara?
Tamira?
Tamira. The Doctor is grilling Tamira, and she just says in the most weak-willed voice, "Sir," and he just keeps going, and it just felt like they timed it wrong. I'll play the clip, but it just feels wrong, because then she says "sir" again, and then she follows it up with something, but it was, when I said the Doctor interrupts, like, keeps going, no, there's a pause there. She goes, "Sir."
You exist in an intricate balance.
Sir.
Commitment to a specialty in science or research is paramount to your safety. That wouldn't have been possible at the War College.
I understand the decision, sir.
We offer counseling and support.
My actual yum moment, I laughed. Rachel can attest. I paused. I was cackling. There's this scene where they're all talking about, like, the play, and they're yelling at Tilly, and, you know, they're like, you know what, Tarima? I'm not okay. Things aren't good for me. I need to get my emotions out. Everyone's having their shake.
I'm tired of pretending like
I'm tired of pretending. Everyone's having their shake. But the scene forgot that Darum's in it too. And so Darum just leans over and gives a very Garth Marenghi type line where he just goes, "Even the walls of this place are unrecognizable to me." I laughed. It was just so amusing to me. Like, it was so melodramatic.
That entire scene was like the yummiest scene, yeah.
Is that your yum scene or your yum moment? Do you have a specific?
Well, so I said at the beginning of this episode that I'm giving the actors a bit of a break and going for like production things, and that is a bizarre thing to admit considering, you know, the plethora of choices in this episode. If I did have to do a line, it would be Tilly's line where she like gets Tamira's attention. It's like, is there something more interesting over there? Because the way she ends that line, I didn't even know how to describe it. It's like,
not right.
Is there something interesting over there?
Yeah, there was a weird line delivery.
Like, there's like a clear end to the sentence, but also it feels like there's more to it at the same time. But no, it was it is related to their like back and forth after that line, though. I don't know if it was just my legally acquired copy from the shops or if this was in just the released episode. But when she's like walking up the steps and they're having the dialogue back and forth, like the audio is like kind of like buzzy and peaking or something.
No.
And this feels like something that you would point out and like would go over my head, but I like just could not let go of it. It was just so weird.
I'm sure you'll provide me your totally legally owned copy from Paramount Plus, and I'll listen to it. And I will say,
I said
wow.
It's from the shop.
Yeah, from the shops, from Paramount Plus's shops.
Yeah.
They have shops. They own everything down here. There's a merger happening, so they're owning everything. Rachel, you were so angry watching this episode that you were quiet. I was the one making noises, but Rachel literally kicked her seat back and was just laying with her arms crossed and with a scowl. So, of course, you have so many yum moments to choose from. What floated to the top?
Like I said, spoiled for choice.
Spoiled for choice.
It's Tilly. It's 2 lines from Tilly. "We are the women that time forgot. Optimism is me paddling my frickin' canoe."
She said that as if it was like a thing we all know.
What the fuck is that?
She said it like we all know this famous phrase. You know, like
Like, you're up shit creek without a paddle, and the optimism is you paddle and you're doing it up creek. Is that what I meant to get from that? But why are you the women that time has forgot?
Oh, because they're from the past. Both her and Jet Reno are from the past, so they're out of place.
If it makes you feel better, Rachel, I think this was the most embarrassing episode of the show.
Whoa, Durham didn't even do anything cringe.
I know, I've given
Other
up.
than the wall line. No. I think if you go back and watch that line, that's fucking cringe.
It was a funny line, but yeah.
The way he says it too. I loved this episode. I thought it was the greatest example of what I hate about modern Star Trek. This is what I was expecting the show to do more often. In its defense as a series, this type of episode is what I thought most of them would be. And thankfully, they haven't. There is a certain language that they use in modern Star Trek. There's this certain, like, flowery, emotional, woo-woo crap that they have in their dialogue that I can't help but be derogatory and just say is drivel. A lot of it is just drivel. And I've been like, oh, they haven't really had that. Then this episode, every line of dialogue is this mode. And I was thinking, oh, I can't wait to hear what Bartek thinks, because this is what I've been describing about Star Trek, and it hasn't really come to pass. And then this episode happens, and I'm like, what are they even saying? I know what they're saying, but why are they saying it in this way? This is, to me, honestly, the episode where whatever characters we did have for these last several episodes were now replaced by pod people who spoke in metaphors and poetry and just nonsense dialogue that doesn't feel remotely real and or with a point.
I made the argument when we were talking about episode 5 that one of the things I liked about that was that it was kind of harkening back to some, Ferris Buellery, Saved by the Belly, Ned's Declassified kind of like kids show stuff. This felt like they were trying to do like I guess you'd call it like an after school special kind of thing, because there's like a whole theater thing going on, melodrama. And I didn't know if they were like playing into like theatrics and just going like too far on the overacting, or if this was, as you just said, like, oh, they're going back to what New Trek has generally been.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, not a fan, huh?
In a way, it is kind of like hearkening into like a sort of so bad it's good thing. I did also have a moment where I didn't pause, but I was just giggling with mouth closed, like, where I'm like, we're really doing this, huh?
I genuinely mean
This
it.
kind of bullshit is why Ryan doesn't let me sit on the chair that's next to the fucking door.
Because you'd leave.
I would leave. I would like to share the one thing that I put in my notes that was vaguely a positive.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, please.
The presentation, acting choices, and physical, like, effect, like the visual effect of Sam's hands glitching behind her back when she's with Genesis.
Yeah, that was nice. I like
That was it.
I like that they tried to do some artistic stuff, like when they went to her home world, things were in this like weird black and white effect.
It felt David Lynchy kind of.
Yeah, but they also did that very hilarious sci-fi thing where it's like, I've scanned your mind, so I've recreated an environment that makes you feel comfortable because we're not building new sets.
No.
We're using the
Yeah.
old sets, but now they're lit differently, so it feels different. That's just classic 101 sci-fi. That's sci-fi
and
TV.
Again, it also felt Lynchy, though.
Yeah.
I was annoyed that like they specifically said that they scanned the doctor.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't buy that he thinks of the Academy as home.
It's still new. It should have been Aki, if anyone.
Yeah.
But what do you think about this episode in terms of like, what about this one gets up your goat so much in comparison to others in this series? Why is this the breaking point for you?
Because it is taking itself so goddamn seriously. It is treating it like we've spent a long time and these young people are hurting and we need to help them. Regular trauma counseling isn't enough. So we're going to use the power of theater to heal them. And it's all fucking bullshit.
It's very TV. Like that idea of like, they're studying a play And that play now becomes their lives in this very poetic way, where now it starts to echo who they are, and their feelings start to change, and they start to become the characters from the play.
I hadn't heard of this play before.
Oh, I know about Our Town, yeah.
So I genuinely thought that, one, it may have been made up for the sake of this TV show. Two, that it was a play that one of the writers had written, and it was their way of plugging their own play.
No, it's a classic. Like, it's a contemporary classic, Our Town. I don't like it, if it helps you any, but it is one. It's very American.
My play is from ancient Earth. It's 1,000 years old. It's called Our Town by Thornton Wilder. It's about not much.
This episode had a lot of callbacks to things of Star Trek's past, but did anything leap out to you? Anything you want clarifications on? Any questions?
I think kind of similar to the episode 5 stuff, it kind of all made sense. Like, obviously, the Doctor has, like, a monologue at one point that shows, like, footage from, I'm assuming, Voyager.
Yeah. He describes an episode of a plot that he was in. Like, he describes an episode plot line.
He said something like, this reminds me of...
They kind of describe it wrong. Would you like me to give you the continuity note that was on Memory Alpha?
Yes, I would love to hear that, but just for clarity's sake, yes, they use footage from a Voyager episode in which the Doctor creates a family in the holodeck. Like, he creates one because he's like, to understand humans, I should have a family. And his daughter dies. His holographic daughter dies, and that's a big deal. And then the other episode that Rachel's about to pull up is one of the greatest episodes of Voyager, in which a blink of an eye is the episode in which they come to a planet that has a different way that time works there. And the Doctor goes down there, and he lives he lives for a duration of years. And here's the tricky thing, though, that this episode of Starfleet Academy doesn't want to acknowledge because it completely blows up its central thesis of the Doctor.
Yeah.
Because this episode takes place way later than the other one that they use footage from, is the Doctor had a family down there and he had a son. Which completely fucks over what this episode is saying, which is because of the events of the other episode, he could never do that.
Wait, so which one came first?
The other one, the one where he has a holographic family.
Okay.
And then the Blink of an Eye episode came several seasons later, and he has a son, and he's happy, and we've seen other episodes of Voyager where he has he dreams of connections like this. So they don't mention that because it completely ruins what they are trying to make the Doctor to be in this episode for this episode's story's sake. But Rachel, what is your continuity thing? Because we nerds love continuity errors.
That wasn't what Memory Alpha pointed out. They point out the Doctor says that he spent a lifetime on Katana. However, in Blink of an Eye, it was stated he was on the planet for only 3 years, which is about 18 minutes from the perspective of Voyager and her crew. It is possible he was speaking metaphorically.
He's not the type that would, though. That's the problem. Even in this series, he's not the type of wistful, metaphorical guy. It actually takes at the plot of this episode to make him that. So
what happened to that second family?
He left them behind.
Okay.
Because he had to go back. And by the time he went back to Voyager, they would have aged because of just how the time
Oh, yeah, because in 18 minutes.
3 seconds that he's up there.
But, the hour it would have taken to fly up, they would have been
So I guess this episode was re-experiencing the, trauma of seeing your daughter die then.
Yeah, I guess. But they make it out like he would never want to have a child ever again, even though he did. So they just skipped over that. But you know what they didn't skip over? They brought back our good old friend Tilly. You see, we thought that they weren't going to. But then they said, no, Tilly was going to be in this season. One episode only.
That was your theory in the captain's log. Like, maybe it's only going to be one episode.
I knew at some point she was only in one.
Yeah, we got confirmation.
So, Tilly was a character from Star Trek Discovery. She was one of the main characters, and she left to become a teacher at the Starfleet Academy, which was reforming. And she had a backdoor pilot episode because Tilly was supposed to be the main character, I guess the Aki equivalent of this show. But for whatever reasons, it did not come to pass. And so Tilly, as the main character of this show, is not the case. And so she's here as a guest character, a one-off character, which is a compromise to say the least, but it also feels like a very damning compromise. It's not even like, hey, maybe you could be a recurring star. They make it pretty clear here, like this is a special deal that she's only going to be here one time. It's almost like the actress looking at us saying, I'm only going to be here this one time. Don't expect me to be here more.
She was called in for these awful circumstances that she needed to solve, and they were solved by the end.
Good job, Red. You did it again. And it's like, okay, thank you, Jet Rito. Tilly did it again.
Did they have a big dynamic in Discovery?
No. No, Jet Rito had basically no dynamic with anyone because she was barely in the show, but she was. Okay. The closest she had was with Paul Stamets, the engineer, because she was an engineer too. Mm-hmm. But Tilly is not new to us, but she's new to you, Bartek. So what did you feel about Tilly, the former main character of the show in another universe?
That first scene, she really wears her personality on her sleeve.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And what do you make of that?
And it was, you already mentioned it, Ryan. You've done a drama degree. I met you in that drama degree, so I also have drama background. So when they were having this whole thing about, we're going to be learning theater, and you saw the cadets' reactions, there was obviously a sense of like, oh, how's this going to go? And also mixing in my experience of substitute teaching, and I have substitute teacher taught drama classes. I know that does not always go well. I think there's one school I've been to where the drama classes are always kind of all right. The rest of them, it's a nightmare, even though it's my passionate subject.
Yes, and you teach high school students, different to college students.
Yeah, sometimes primary, but mostly, high school.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was actually getting a little bit of enjoyment from some of their reactions because it did kind of match some reactions that I've had where it's like, they're disengaged. And then she asks a question like, what do you think that means? And then me thinking of my experience was like, they're going to just go like, I don't know, because, they're not engaged. So when they actually like
eloquently
understood the text after one sentence was said out of context.
There's a word I want to say. What is it? It's despite themselves, they give like an answer and it's like kind of an okay answer. It's like, that's not realistic for like a disengaged class. Like I hadn't heard of this play either, but I had a hankering that like this was a real one. Like even from the little bit, because you get a bit of dialogue and then there's like, what do you think that meant? I'm like, I didn't even like register the...
They said like one sentence. And then, like, do you know what that means?
Yeah,
like, I don't know.
Analyze it on a sentence level, which...
It's not Shakespeare. That's what you do with Shakespeare, because Shakespeare's lines are like that.
Like, you can't effectively do that the way that they do without a very deep and layered understanding of the play first.
Yeah, do a full read and then do another read through.
But they make a point like they don't know what this scene is. They're reading it basically for the first time. And here's the thing too. Rachel, you're an English teacher.
Yes.
So, the line by line approach does happen in English teaching. Like when I was in high school, we read Death of a Salesman like that. And we also read Caesar like that. Shakespeare lends itself to that because of just the way of the rhythm of the writing, the style of the writing. But like with this...
That's also because you have to translate it.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Like, it's like, okay, so what does this part mean? How does it connect to the previous sentence? How is it linking forward?
Yeah.
And creating that chain of understanding that you need... more because it's Elizabethan language. So it's like it's written in English, but not the English that we know or that we use.
And then you add the pentameter on top of it, and that adds a different flavor. But here's the thing. With a drama class, you're not studying it line by line the way these fuckers are. So I can tell you, as someone who did a drama unit, who studied drama, did all this stuff, that's not how you do it. And then to Bartek's point is, if they're disinterested, why do they know so much?
Yeah, why do they have, like, decent answers to what should be, like...
Everything is just for convenience.
And remember, most of these characters are aliens. Remember that. Factor that into your mind. Most of these people are fucking aliens who don't know anything about human culture. So why do they have investment in this? I actually thought it was very fucking bold as well, from a teacher standpoint, that when Sam, who was not the last student to be picked, by the way, but it was, Tilly sided with Sam and just said, yes, I know it. It's one of my favorite plays. We're doing that one. It's like, yes, thank you.
Screw everybody else.
Yes, thank you, human teacher who just berated the Klingon for choosing Klingon opera and just clearly hated it. Then you just stand up and go, me, a human, from this general time period of this play, like a couple hundred years later, but like, I choose this one because it's great for me. And I'm like, don't make it so obvious about your human bias, Tilly. Jesus Christ.
I can teach this one easier.
Most of these kids are aliens, for fuck's sake.
I think one of them does have an answer to one of the questions. Like, well, they didn't have, like, you know, spaceships or something, so it clearly means, like, this.
They didn't know the life cycle of a star.
Yeah, that's it.
So that's why.
But then she gets into further detail, like, of things that somehow she knows. Like, there was a war on at that time.
Tilly says isn't even from the fucking play, apparently. That's what the author said about the play.
Oh, that's dirty Paul. You can't just do that.
So
it's
a contextual comment about the play. It's not even in the text.
Oh, that sucks.
Oh,
that
wow.
sucks. It's like if they
Which
read
is much more of an English approach to studying a play
But
than
this
a
is-
drama.
It's a theater. Yeah, it's theater.
Ryan and I do another podcast, Spit and Polish Presents. We cover movies on that podcast.
The actress of Tilly was in a movie we covered. She was in Marriage Story as
Yeah,
one of
as-
the drama students.
As like a theater person.
yeah, weird that.
Yeah.
But on that podcast, occasionally we do movies that, you know, are not too good or have scenes that have a certain problem. We describe the problem as we see the script. Like, we can see that this is like a written scene. We're not seeing it like naturally acted out. This episode had a lot of that going on.
It was mostly that, to be real with you.
You think I'm afraid of playing a ghost in some stupid play? I'm already the ghost girl.
What is our understanding of Starfleet Academy as an educational institution? Like, what do you
Bartek,
make
you
of
have to
it?
go first.
We're 8 episodes in. How do their classes work? Who are their teachers? What
How
are they
many
learning?
years do
like,
they go?
what are they learning overall? Like, what's the structure of this all? Like, this is the namesake of the show, and I can just tell you, as a general audience member, I don't know. Like, I don't understand. Like, this class that she did, is it only for 2 weeks? She was there for 2 weeks, and then that's the end of it. It's like, wait, that's not how universities or colleges. I don't understand. So, like, as you two, as teachers, as people who are teachers who work in education, as well as people who have been to universities and whatnot, what do you make?
Yeah, and I think Tarima was kind of like leaning into that a little bit in the scene that I described as the yum yum scene, where she was like, don't you get what she's doing? Like, this is clearly not a real class kind of thing. This is like, you know, therapy thing so that she can say she did a good job or something
Pat
along
herself
those
on the
lines.
back.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting because we had a discussion like really early on in talking about this show where, you know, it was how many classes are we going to see? And we actually did get front loaded with a decent amount in like those first 2 episodes and even into the third one. We had like a whole debate thing going on in the 4th one. But now we have had a stretch where there haven't really been, like, obviously episode 6 was like, you know, a prac that they went on, and episode 7 was literally a holiday thing. But now we're suddenly thrust back to a class where, like, the subject is, like, the big thing. Like, they're literally reacting to the fact that we're doing a theater thing at Star Trek Academy. And Tilly has a line that was like, you know, 4 out of 6 students ask that question.
8 out of 10.
8 out of 10, sorry. 8 out of 10 students ask that question. The other 2 become captains. And it felt like a line that would have meant something that, like, oh, you know, maybe the past captains in this franchise had like a sort of theatrhythm to them.
Famously, Picard was not an actor. That was a line that was a famous. It's ironic because Patrick Stewart's a Shakespearean actor, but Picard, he famously, jokingly, like it's a joke meta, but he's like, "I'm not much of an actor," which is hilarious to say.
Like, isn't that like what the fuck meme? Like him trying to do Shakespeare?
Yeah,
or
exactly.
something?
Yeah, him doing Shakespeare, and it's like him doing it poorly. Like the joke, that's the meta joke. But yes, I understand your point. Like the idea of like theater.
Yeah. So we're not getting a clear idea of like what all the subjects are, but we are at least being told that this one's a weird one, like the artistic subject.
Because it feels like it shouldn't be an actual main class, but like with student theater in general, something you do on the side, optional that you choose to do. So for a military coded academy, it does feel weird to them. But like, even on the little things, like, okay, Rachel and I got into a debate about this, and I admittedly didn't really care as much because this show does a lot of like, they flood the zone with shit. They just give you so much information. Like I was going on about the transporter stuff in the last episode. You didn't really understand or even care about it, but like they just flood you with so much random stuff that you kind of just either get wound up about it like Rachel and I, or like me with this, I just kind of surrendered. When Tilly enters, she's like, I'm usually for third years and I'm coming in and I'm here to, do this. I took it as she was subbing in for the person who runs this class, but Rachel was adamant against that. And when we went back to the scene, no, we're fast tracking my class in third year for this right now. And I'm like, wait, what? This is a third year class? Like amateur theater is a third year class and on a 4-year course? What? Like these are the things I don't get. And Rachel, you are very up in arms about this because you've been up in arms about like, how does the academy even work?
Yeah, what the fuck is going on?
Does the War College have to do this?
I still don't know what the deal with the War College is.
Yeah, do the third years from the War College also go out to Beta Quadrant? Don't know. But this annoyed me so much. And Ryan was just like, okay, just go to Memory Alpha.
What is memory?
It's the Wikipedia for Star Trek.
Okay.
It's probably the most, like, how would you say? It's the most compiled fan wiki thing ever. Like, if you have any questions about Star Trek, Memory Alpha will have an answer.
Okay. There are some like that. I think the JoJo one's also kind of big deal like that.
So this is I have a timeline that I've compiled as well as another continuity note that relates to my problems of, wait, how long has the Academy existed? Who was in charge before Aki?
Mm-hmm.
What are the order of events?
Because there was a line at the end where Tilly said to Aki, oh, I'm so glad that you're back. Like, you're serving again. And it's like, you have never met before. Like, this character, Aki, was retired well before Tilly showed up to this timeline because she's from the past. So I was like, wait, that doesn't make any fucking sense. And I'm like, I'm sure, Rachel, compile a timeline. Walk us through how this all works.
Yeah.
So some of these are more broad, some of them is more specific. So 3170s is Caleb is born and his childhood. 3180, I believe, is when the Nusbraka trial happens and Aki resigns.
Right.
Then 8 years later, so 3188 is when Michael Burnham arrives in the future. 3189 is when Discovery arrives, therefore Tilly.
And Jet Reno.
Also, in Discovery, not all the characters at the same time.
No, there was a fun thing where Michael Burnham was ahead of them and meant that she got time displaced differently. And so that was like, she lived a couple years long out in the future more than they did. So it was kind of an interesting thing. But yes, so Jet Reno and Tilly rock up in 3190. Yes.
3189.
Oh, 3189. So
89.
Jet Reno and Tilly rock up then when Aki is not an officer in any way.
Yeah, she's a decade retired.
This is potentially when she is being a kindergarten teacher on Beta Z.
On Bajor.
Oh, Bajor, sorry. Then 3190 is when Starfleet Academy reopens.
Mm-hmm.
We know that from this Discovery episode, Kobayashi Maru. And I thought it would be interesting to note that happens before Earth is even a part of the Federation again.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's the same year, but in the order of the timeline, they have the Academy opening before Earth is even in the Federation again.
It exists beyond Earth, even though it's on Earth, yeah. That's what they had to do, right? So, yeah.
Yeah. And then 3195 is when Aki is offered Chancellor. But Vance presents it as the newly recommissioned Starfleet Academy, now split between its original San Francisco campus and the USS Athena.
So the spaceship that they fly around, that turns into the Academy?
Yeah.
So that answers the question of the War College. So the War College was the previous Starfleet campus, and then a spaceship deconstructs on top of them, which is
fucking weird.
I don't know why you need to do that.
And so when does the burn happen?
Oh, that's like 100 years before.
Oh, it doesn't happen after they come to...
No, they come to a wasteland future and the mystery of the
so the burn
season.
is a backstory.
The burn is a backstory.
Oh,
always.
okay. I completely did not
so
know that.
The mystery of solving the burn is what Michael gets up to when she arrives.
I thought the Discovery people experienced it.
No, they are after it.
Okay.
So then,
and then my last note for this timeline is it's 3196.
Mm-hmm.
Is the year that is the equivalent, the star date that's given in episode 8 translates to being the year 3196.
Mm-hmm.
So the Academy has been reopened for 6 years, which means that their oldest alumni are 2 years out. Yet Tilly has enough data to say that 2 out of 10 become captains.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very small frame of time to be treating it like this is a well-known thing.
Tiny classes. Like, they didn't have people wanting to go to the Academy.
They probably only had 10 in each class, like in this class.
And it wouldn't have been a reference to, a millennium before, right?
No.
It's a
because
big
Tilly's
deal.
saying it from personal experience.
It's a big deal in TOS that Kirk is the quickest.
Youngest captain, yeah.
Yeah, quickest to move through the ranks and become captain. And he's 32. So
33,
which means that how long if he started the Academy at 18, 4 years he finishes at.
Mm-hmm.
How old would he be, Ryan?
When he finishes, he would be like 22.
22, which means that he served 10 years
before he
became a captain.
Yeah.
But in this version, in this world, that Tilly seems to be indicating through this one line.
Oh, you become a captain a year after you leave the academy, yeah. But that's only
4 captains have made it in 2 years.
Because they love theatre.
Lieutenant, what does theatre have anything to do with
8 out of 10 cadets ask that question. The other 2 become captains.
Captains don't do...
What if I told you that theater is one of the most powerful tools for social and political change? Theater is statecraft. Statecraft is theater.
Okay. We were discussing the last episode and the potential sexism. What is with this fucking show? And having these moments where somebody is drunk or inebriated and I feel like they've both, this has happened at least twice and both of them were women. And then the women getting really indignant at the men turning them down, saying, "You're drunk."
Look.
Why?
Rachel,
why do they keep on doing that?
You're in a room with two men that don't drink, by the way.
You're in a room with two men could have been enough of an answer. Here's the real thing of it all.
Because it's just like, like in olden days, he would have taken advantage of her. But see, he's a good guy because he doesn't make out with her when she's drunk. And it's just like,
even Austin Powers.
I don't commend him for that.
No, I do.
No, that's just him being a decent person.
Yeah, but the show's going to treat it that
it's
she's
not a
in an
gold
emotion.
star to not rape somebody.
Yeah, but the show knows that, Rachel. The show is anti her in that scene, and then pro her in every other scene. That's what's confusing about it.
My mind was blown because it was the first time the show was on Caleb's side with their disagreements.
It was.
I was like, you can do this show?
Yeah, you can do this show? I can't believe you could do this. But then the rest of the episode says, no, Caleb, fuck you. Don't you feel for her? The show grabs us by the shoulders and just has scene after scene after scene of her being sad and going, why don't you feel sad for her? I know she's a jerk, but why don't you feel sad for her? She's traumatized. I'm like, they're all traumatized, but we've had 2 episodes since the big trauma, and the one in between was a slice of lifey kind of whatever episode. So when we hard cut to this episode, and like people are like about to throw fists in the hallway and stuff.
When we first see Darum.
Yeah, he's about to punch some random guy.
I was like, oh no, what's happened since the last episode?
Yeah, did they get infected by a virus that gives them rage?
I was like, what happened since the last episode? The show's like, no, what? The 2 episodes ago thing happened. I'm like, but he was fine last episode.
At some point, I was really expecting them to say that it was Tarina has had this thing happen to her and she is scared to engage with Caleb because that's a part of what activated her ability so much that it nearly fried her brain. I thought it was going to be that.
Oh, you thought it was going to be that?
I thought it was going to be something.
Silly of me. Rachel can attest again to this. Silly old me, dumb old me, silly old Ryan, take me out back and shoot me in the head. I thought I was watching a Star Trek episode. So when she came back, the big deal is Tarima is back. Everyone, she's back. She's had a lot of episodes off this season, but she's back. Not only is she back, she's now a Starfleet Academy member because, I don't know, just cause.
The War College is too much for her brain, so she needs to do a science career.
It just answered my question from a few minutes ago. The reason they don't do the theater thing at the War College.
They don't do it at the War College because that's for pussies.
So that's why she had to go to the
That's why she had to go to the Academy, so she could be in a plot with... It's almost like she should have been in the Academy from the very beginning of the show. But here's the thing.
Right, you should have said that episodes ago.
Here's the thing. She comes in, and silly old me, Rachel, silly old me, I thought we were going to have a Star Trek plot where everyone starts acting out of character and upset and angry like she is, the character who has super empathy abilities. I thought that she
take charge a bit.
I thought she was leaking out psychically and affecting those around it because that's a Star Trek plot. That's literally
how far removed this feels from Star Trek.
But then the answer was no.
I didn't even think of the possibility of it being a Star Trek
No,
plot.
The answer was 2 episodes. They had a sad thing happened. We didn't really get into it in the last episode, so we're getting into it now. And so it feels weird in the modern serialized storytelling age that we spent an hour not addressing it.
It's what you said before about how like these feel like, what do you say, like pod people? Like,
yeah, they feel like pod people who
like,
speak differently to what we normally see.
Yeah, like different versions of these characters, and it feels very weird.
As teachers as well, I want to ask you, is it moral? Is it right to secretly, covertly create a class as therapy?
No! Tarina is right!
Yeah, she's fucking right. It's creepy that Tilly's coming in to make this secret little class that's just serving as non-consensual group therapy for them. Like, I get there's a line as a teacher, as an adult, or whatever. Also, they're all adults. Like, all of the people in the room, they're all adults. I don't care what we say. Like, they are all adults.
Oh, I think Caleb's like straight up 21.
Yeah, he's 20.
Okay, well,
But-
now,
No, he is 20. We know this, but here's the thing.
Yeah.
Here's the thing.
now is a
They're
good
all
point.
they're all adults. My point is they're all adults at an institution for adults, and the teacher who's been brought in specifically to help them with their trauma is using the institution itself as a means to do that. I think that's scummy. There is such thing as art therapy that exists, and you know what the thing about that is? You know it's that when you do it. Like, they don't secretly spring that on you and go,
Yeah, like
ta-da!
a lot of their answers to like, what do you think this means, is like clearly like, double meaning of like all the things that we just went through.
Now, Tarima is back. This is the most character she's been given in the show. They're actually saying, remember, she's on the poster. She's going to be spending time with the other characters. And I'm not exaggerating. Is this really the first time she's spoken to anyone in the group other than Caleb
Ryan,
and Sam?
how dare you bring up my point? There was such... It
Her
was,
brother's in the group, Ryan.
Yeah, he's had more
he's
of a
not on the
dynamic.
poster, though.
He should be. I'm not joking. He should
It's
be.
weird that he's not. No, but seriously, when they like revealed that like, oh, she's been roommated with Sam and Genesis, it was a really bizarre thing just seeing them talk to each other.
Who was Sam with before? Did they kick them out?
I just assumed just Genesis.
Okay.
I know that they like trio
Because
people.
there's
but-
only one female bunk that we care about and only one male bunk.
I'm gonna
all
be-
of
Oh
them
yeah,
have to
Occam was
be
yeah.
Occam was
in
yeah.
the same. They have to share a room as
Yeah.
well.
At
as
the start of episode 2, it was just Caleb and Darum in that room, and then at
Yeah.
the end, Occam was added. So
I
I,
feel
guess
so-
adding a third person.
No, Jaden is in a different one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel so silly. I thought it was just Sam and Tarima in there, and then when Sam left, Genesis would come in there to like just talk. I didn't know Genesis was in there too. Like, silly old me. Like, I guess I wasn't giving it the fullest of attention in that way. But like, it comes down to the heart of the matter is these characters are having conversations in a way where it treats it like they've had a connection. They've had something. Like, oh, we should actually be like Genesis and Tarima talking in a way that indicates that they have a history. And I'm like, have they discussed
Oh, I didn't get that.
things?
I thought this was like a first meeting thing, kind of thing. Like, oh, we're finally talking.
I was somewhere in the middle of it. They'd had minor interactions, and Tarima has assumed things about Genesis because of her jealousy of Genesis' connection to Caleb.
Yeah, they would have shot at each other in episode 3.
When has she seen it, though?
Seen what?
Her and Caleb. Like, when has Tarima seen anything of Genesis to
never.
even get an indication of that?
Yeah, that was the weird thing when, I have the thing against you, and like she thought that Genesis and Caleb had a thing. Like, they have had scenes together, Genesis and Caleb, but
Where's Tarima in those?
yeah.
Where's she witnessing this? Where does she get her perspective? I can tell you, the writers are just acting as this omniscient god force and giving this to Tarima so that way she can have an excuse to have a love triangle.
Fuck me, I'm thinking back on the show, and you're right, I don't know that the 3 of them
What is her brother telling her?
have... Yeah.
Is he
Other
ratting
than-
out to her, being like, this
other
Caleb
than-
guy's hitting on Genesis?
Yeah, other than episode 3 when they're like in the sports
wouldn't
competition,
be
I don't know that
out
they've
of
shared
character
really a
then.
scene together.
Yeah.
But even then, that episode wasn't like a, Caleb and Genesis big thing.
You're so nice. No wonder Caleb likes you.
We're just friends.
Yeah. I guess from the bunker I never saw what kind of friends.
You've got to admit that the poignancy of the end of this episode is just so fucking ridiculous.
What? But they tied it all together, and then she quoted the
The
play at
episode-
Tilly, and Tilly, genuinely, the actress gave the expression of, I don't care. I don't know what...
The episode started in darkness like the play does. and it ends in a spotlight.
Like the play does. Did you notice that, Bartek?
I think I did, yeah.
Yeah, it starts off with a sunset and the Doctor.
Sunrise.
Sunrise. Yes. It starts off with a
It's a
sunrise.
whole part of his monologue, Ryan.
Yes, I just misspoke.
Oh,
It starts off.
am I in Marriage Story right now?
Whose side are you on? Yes, it starts off with a sunrise and ends with a spotlight. No, not the Oscar-winning film Spotlight starring Michael Keaton, but an actual spotlight of Aki, because this was also her episode too. She needed a little moment at the end.
Yeah, I was thinking throughout this. You said last episode that Aki has to be in every episode because
Yeah, she has to go on a
Oscar
mission.
winner. Like the B plot of this episode that we haven't touched at all
No.
is about like the Doctor and Sam.
And she's there too.
And she's there too. Like her being
As
there,
the Chancellor.
like her being there too. I felt what you were talking about last episode. Like you don't have to really be here.
But he needs someone to talk to.
True.
And
yeah.
the Cadet Master's been absent the last few episodes outside of a voice call.
Yeah.
And the makeup takes a lot of time. The makeup. And Jet Reno's not going to go with him because what are you going to have two acerbic characters talking to each other? You need Aki there. So Holly Hunter is sharing this story with the Doctor when realistically it should just be the Doctor and Sam talking to each other and getting to know each other more.
Because Aki knows the grief and the burden of having lost a child.
Which doesn't really... Like, yes, but that doesn't really factor
Does it even
in.
get mentioned?
No,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Rachel's bringing that in.
He cuts her off.
He does cut her off.
Okay.
So the B plot, the B plot, is very separated off. This episode does some strange separations. Like, Jayden is sick in this episode, and then they excuse him so he can be absent for like half an hour of the episode, and then he comes back. That was
this
weird.
One's over an hour. Oh, just
Yeah, this one's over an hour long, but like Jayden is at the beginning of this episode. He's talking about Klingon opera, and then he's got a cold and a cough, and they make a whole big deal. And I don't know what happened. Like, did they not have the actor? They had to write something in to explain away why he won't be in certain scenes because it's just so strange. And then with the B plot, they're like, oh, by the way, this clear theater story plot where Sam is invested in it, we're actually going to divert her away because we're going to have to deal with the fact that she's been glitching out, which did get skipped over in the 7th episode. She just goes to a spa thing, and I was like, oh, what's going to be happening there? We don't see it.
Yeah, she's glitching out in the one scene she's in, but then, yeah, she leaves the location.
And and then this episode, the glitching is still happening because she got shot, but then they're like, no, it's not that. It's trauma. I'm like, oh, shut up.
But then it's not actually because it's trauma. It's because she has no resilience because she had no childhood.
And that's like a trauma for her. You know, it's like, oh, okay. Like, right, I didn't hate the Sam B plot entirely, but it was another example of this should have been the main plot of an episode rather than a ham-fisted 15 minutes spent on it. Like, this show does this a bunch where it's like, why don't you focus in and make this an episode rather than like an afterthought within another episode?
I have a question. When they're on Cask?
Sure.
I think so.
Yeah. When they're on Sam's home planet, they're like, Sam will have the memories of the 209 days and also then the childhood. Does Sam have the understanding that the childhood happened after?
No, I don't think so.
Or did they reorder her memories?
It sounded like they reordered their memories.
Yeah.
She's now lived 17 years, not just childhood, 17 years of life has now been lived for her.
We haven't really gotten like Sam dialogue stuff after this whole experience.
She hugs Genesis and
they
then
went
there's
with the
an
emotion.
asteroid
Yeah,
storm.
but we just had a little moment when she comes back. We haven't actually seen like
Yeah, she's happy again.
Yeah, that's all we have though to go off of.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, but it is vague enough where if they explored it in a future episode, sure, but like it is a question worth thinking about because her home planet is treated as very sinister. There's something about them that's sinister and weird, and in all fairness, alien, which is always appreciated.
They just want her to die.
They don't want it. They just don't know how to fix it, so she may as well die. They don't want to have to try and learn. That's what she was for. She was the one that was meant to go out there and learn and bring it back. And now she's broken. They're like, well, we don't learn. So what's the point? Interesting social commentary there. Just something to think about. Like, what did you make of this Sam story overall, Bartek? Like, did you feel similar? Did you feel like it got enough time? What did you get much from?
It's difficult. It's difficult because it is shaky, and you also have the thing where Robert Picardo is giving it like 110%.
He's acting out he's above everyone else.
He's amazing, and it's one of those things where it's like, for this kind of thing. It's so bizarre. And it does feel like, you would want to like follow Sam on this journey as well, because it is a really big deal. Like, she's being brought up, and there was also a funny thing where, like, when she is brought back at the very end, we first see her from behind, and you immediately see, like, she doesn't really have, like, a tied-up hair. Like, it's more down. Like, this is a sign, it's a common trope. Like, hairstyle change means, like, emotional change of some sort. And then when you get the shot of her from the front, she's still doing, like, a kind of, like, goofy-ish expression. Like, she's always had that, like, lent to her sense of innocence. Like, because we saw her from behind first, I thought, like, when we see her from the front, there is also going to be some sort of, like, different vibe thing. Yeah. And we didn't really get one.
I don't know. Like, I'm glad that they didn't, but also at the same time, it feels like they've kind of overwritten the character. Like, well, we had this interesting concept of this hologram that's 4 months old that's been programmed to be 17. But they don't have any life experience, so they basically are 4 months. They're a baby. They are a baby. They overspeak, they touch, they do all these things. Like, they don't even know how to shake hands, all these things. And that's a fun character trait. That's something you can have a show about. And then 8 episodes in, they're like, nah, fuck it. Give her a life so that she can be normal. And I'm just like, what the hell, guys? Like, one of the things that made the Doctor such a fun character was he is a hologram. He is an emergency program, and he decides for himself and is pushed by others to live a life. He's not interested. He's like, turn me off when you leave, to the point in which then he decides, I'm going to try and have a family. I'm going to try out different names for myself. Do I want to just be a doctor? Maybe I want to be an author or a singer. And Sam has this stuff too, but she's on the extreme opposite, where she's eager for these things to a childlike degree. And then in this episode, they're just like, nah, just give her a 17-year life that she's lived in her brain. So now she won't. To me, it's more interesting that she didn't have this, and what does that character, like, seeing that character kind of, that's why she's a sci-fi character. Now it's just like, she's just a 17-year-old girl who's also a hologram. They kind of got rid of the interesting foundational points.
Yeah, like, I was, when we're presented with the conflict of what Sam's going through, like, the most logical thing to me just seemed to be like, I guess we're, killing off this character that we really kind of like. So that's going to be just another sort of, like, trauma point.
But you can't do that.
Yeah.
They already killed off the Vulcan. You can't kill off another straight away.
Robbie the Vulcan.
Yeah, Bobby the Vulcan. So they can't do that straight away. Plus, we just had a Sam episode, so if they killed her, it would have to be another Sam episode, but this is the B plot, so they're not going to do it.
Yeah, but also it would have been highlighted by the fact that, like, a lot of Sam's presence at the Academy in this episode was very lighthearted. Like, her big, like, shocking moment was in the middle of her getting excited about something, and, you didn't really see it coming.
Yeah, and then she glitches out. Yeah. But that's the thing. That would be more meaningful if then it's a proper episode about her or her absence, but they minorly touch on, like, how we feel her absence, we don't know what to deal with, but then also it's Terima being just a fucking drag. I like that this actress who plays Terima is, like, she's very attractive, but it's very meaningless to me when she's like, and all of the people look at me like I'm a freak, and I'm like, are they? I know that's, like, how she feels, but, like, I would actually like it if the show demonstrated anything with it, because I'm like, this hot young girl is just like, they're looking at me like I'm a freak because I have a blinking light on my neck. Meanwhile, there's a rock monster that's walking around the corridor.
You're kind of intrigued by the monster version. You're like, I want to get as close as possible to the abyss. Touch it. Know I touched it, and then run away, because the abyss is real. And a monster actually isn't really your vibe.
This isn't you.
How would you know?
That's the thing. Why isn't this episode just him and her on a shuttlecraft, flying to the place, talking to each other, and challenging one another and learning about one another? Instead, he has to open up to her superiors, characters that he has no connection to, nor do I. So it means nothing to me. It's like, it's great acting, but it's like, it should have just been him in the shuttlecraft with her.
Yeah, and he also addresses, in the flashback stuff when it's flashing back to Voyager, it also flashes back to the first episode when, Sam first meets him and, like, he was very off-put by her and, like, recontextualizing, like, what he was going through in that moment. And that's happening in a monologue, not a dialogue.
I honestly thought that the source of her trauma was his rejection. Like, he keeps looping on the I don't want to be your mentor thing in her mind. I'm like, oh, it's that. And then the episode's like, no.
Yeah,
It's actually it's actually all of these technical things about how, because she hasn't got the memories of a childhood, she doesn't have resilience. I'm like, oh, fuck. This is what I mean by sci-fi gets into the weeds of all these things. Like, you'll get into weeds of all this, but then get the episodes wrong about that they fucking show footage from. So I'm like, for me, the Doctor's characterization wasn't so far off, but this was, to me, the greatest example of this isn't the Doctor that I watched, per se. And I know that can be a benefit in some ways, but to me, this is the
They're ignoring
example.
key chapters of his life that already happened.
Because it's inconvenient for what they want to develop for his character, that he's already done these developments. So it's like, let's ignore them and we do it. Like, and you should applaud that we did it.
See, this discussion that we're having is like, plot twists for me. Like, they've already done this, actually, Bartek.
Yeah, they've already done this. And
I've already given plenty of yum-yums this season, and I'm about to give 2 more. Episode 7 gets a yum-yum.
Yum-yum.
Episode 8 gets a yum-yum.
You liked him that much?
Yum-yum.
Rachel, you were in such a gear that you were just handing out yum-yums. Rachel loved these episodes. You heard her, guys.
I know. I feel like a dick for all the yums I've given.
It feels so real. For me personally, Rachel, I'm going to be on the opposite end of you.
No, I should be honest.
Oh, really? Because I've already done the sound effects of yum-yum for both times, and that's canon.
They're both yum.
Yum.
I give the first episode a yum.
Yum.
And, of course, this latest episode that we just discussed, episode 8, I give a yum.
Yum.
But with a smile. Because for me, this was what
fucking
you had.
Little yum.
This is what you had with the Sam episode, where you like that one, but like that level of like, oh, I had fun with how stupid it was. This is this for me, where when I was watching it, it was like drinking poison, like literally poison. But when I got to step back, I went, that was so fucking bad. Like, I think objectively, this one's the worst episode of the show. But I loved its awfulness because this is the type of stuff modern Star Trek does that gets my gears turning and makes Rachel's blood boil. And that makes it more important to me than what episode 7 is, which is just static noise.
The scene in episode 8 that got me, giggling without pausing was when it was basically the realization moment where like the cadets were all like, in that dark room, and then Occam stands up and starts reading his lines and everyone gets really inspired and into the play. That was the thing where I'm like, oh my god, this is so cheesy.
They needed to stand on their desks at some point and say, teacher, my teacher. Like, they were really going for that.
They're not in a classroom except for that first scene.
Yeah, I got what I wanted, by the way. I said more classroom scenes. I got that, but in a monkey paw. So, episode 7, Bartek, do you give a yum or yum-yum?
I liked episode 7 more than you guys. I don't quite know that I can go to the yum-yum degree, but I'm pretty close. But I would give it, yum. Just a little too many. The betrayal of that ending wedding thing just was too much.
Yum.
The 8th episode, it does lean into that so bad it's good territory at quite a lot of points, but yeah, it is a very clear yum. I meant it earlier when I assured Rachel that this was the most embarrassing episode.
Yeah.
The next 2 episodes are the penultimate and final of the season. So simply ask, what do you want out of the ending of this season?
For it to be over.
Oh, yeah, duh. I mean, it's going to be over.
Rachel's playing on easy mode.
Rachel, what do you want to be the ending of this season? What do you want out of its ending?
I want it to be revealed that his mum was evil all along and she's actually Paul Giamatti's boss.
Oh.
That'd be fun.
I mean, she was evil. She did actually kill people, by the way. Like, when she got locked up, it was for a crime that she did commit. Like, it was not without a doubt, shadow of a doubt, that she did kill innocent people for the thing that they needed to do.
I've forgotten what the details
Yeah,
were.
yeah, exactly. You've forgotten because it's so incidental when it should actually be more important.
Like, I had an internal giggle when Rachel said the phrase all along.
Mm-hmm. So, what I want from the ending is, boy, at this stage, it's such a mess because I know for my own self, I don't give a fuck about the Caleb, Aki, Paul Giamatti stuff. I just don't. They haven't earned it for me. But I know he has to come back. I know Giamatti is there. When is he going to reveal he has some sort of super weapon? And when it comes to the mum, I don't care.
Well, he's got the super weapon.
Yeah, but like, we know he... No. We all keep saying he has a super weapon. He just went to a base where there's
something secret.
Something there. We just assume super weapon. What happens if the secret thing is Caleb's mum, as I predict? But I honestly think this show will, like, in terms of what I want from its ending, I want the characters to be learning lessons and doing school things. But no, it's going to be shooting, and bangs.
Care.
I guess let's try to boil down, like, you know, end of season things to 3 points based on the plot that we've had so far. Let's put it down to, like, character development or character arc, the secret that Paul Giamatti has, and, like, revelations about the mum. Like, how many of these 3 things are we expecting?
Oh, I think they're going to try and do all of them, yeah.
All of them.
We've got 2 episodes. I think they're going to try and do all of them.
So they didn't, like, plan to end the season on, like, a cliffhanger because, like, oh, we'll get another season.
I doubt it. They always do them as, like, one and, like...
They're treating it like it's the ending.
Yeah.
Okay.
They always kind of have somewhat self-contained seasons like this, and then they move on to the next shtick.
Because, yeah,
I do know facts about Giamatti in terms of what he's going to be in this show, but I won't reveal them until next time.
Well, I know that he gets more metal on his fingers.
Yes, we know he gets more metal. And apparently they're going to explain the tic-tac-toe thing on his head. So apparently that's going to get an explanation. I don't know if it will matter, but we'll have to find out. But do you think that just on simple baseline level, you will care about the reveal of Caleb's mom, Noose Bracca's return? Like, do you actually think, oh, I will actually walk away from this going, yes, I cared?
Well, but boiling down to those points that I listed just there, the fact that we really haven't gotten anything, like, clearly indicating anything about Caleb's mum, it's literally just speculation that she's tied to this secret.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just pulled that out, and both of you last week were like, really? And I'm like,
yeah. And
I feel like you have to.
Yeah, I was thinking about it over the past 2 weeks. Like, you mentioned, like, the new type thing. Like, oh, okay, there's some sort of, like, it was funny at the time, but, like, honestly, maybe there is some sort of, like, human body change kind of thing going on there.
That's what the Furies were.
Like, what like, if it is a weapon, is it going to be like a weapon of destruction or a weapon of, like, you know, fucking with people kind of thing? Like, yeah. So I don't know. I feel like
I'm glad you're thinking about it, because you're a little bit dismissive about that conversation, especially with, like, what do you think Paul Giamatti's got? It's like, it's just a general mystery. It's like, yeah, but you can't.
Episode 6 was my low point for this show. So, weirdly enough, like, these 2 episodes have kind of uplifted me a bit more.
Yeah.
But, yeah, in terms of will I care, I feel like we've just had too little of Caleb's mum. She's got to be in the entire, like, most of the next 2 episodes, I guess, if I am going to care.
And she's a well-known actress. Like, she's a big deal actress. So they didn't just pull out some randoms like they did with Darum's parents, who both of them in total acting credits are like 14.
Can I just say the visual element of recording this episode?
Rachel was curled up in a ball, weeping with anger at many points during this. But that's because she loves Star Trek so much that she can't wait to come back for season 2 of Star Trek Starfleet Academy and scream some more. I love making Rachel scream about Star Trek Starfleet Academy.
I do have to tell the yumlings that I really enjoy doing these discussions. So even like quality of the show aside, like obviously I'm not a Star Trek fan, but the fact that
this hasn't made you one?
I'll have to think about it. I'll save my judgment till the end of the season, gentlemen and lady. But no, the fact that it simply lets me do this podcast with you guys at least lets me like it in that sense. So
yes.
The fact that it brings me some inherent joy and brings you guys inherent pain is sort of a rough point.
It's a sadomasochist relationship we've got going on here, everyone.
Yeah,
and Bartek, it is that serious.
Yeah,
we keep on discussing our relationship with Bartek in these episodes.
Because he blew it off early on, and then I'm like, I thought it was much more serious than that. And then, as Caleb famously said, I thought we had something.
If you want to engage with us on social media, you can find Yum Yum Podcast stuff under yumyumpod or yumyum podcast. Spit and Polish is under Spit and Polish.
Presents. Yeah, we're there. Thank you all so much for being here, listening to us rave about these episodes. We were just raving about them. We're like, yes, this is an episode.
Oh, I was definitely ranting.
But we have to leave now.
Don't pretend.
We have to leave now because we have a script reading of Our Town that we must get to.
The walls of this place don't even look the same anymore.